Dark Knights of Steel, Allwinter, issue 5, J. KRISTOFF writing with TIRSO Cons on the art. Now, this is the penultimate issue, and it does feel like a penultimate issue. It sets up this kind of the big final mission for the ending. And we have a big Deathstroke character appear and kind of help Deathstroke out at the start here, and his predicament, and it's Wintergreen, who's got a big suit of armor on.
He's got a Viking flamethrower. I love it.
So we find out, obviously these guys go way back. They've not seen each other in like 10, 15 years, whatever it's been. And he's got an underground lair. He's been digging, he's been building, and apparently he's been wanting to get to like the main city to get to Victor and try and stop all this, not by going through the horde of all the undead like monsters or whatever it is, but by going under, and that kind of ends up being the big plan. But there's some really nice stuff here though, because when they're talking about like what happened, and you see like a quick little snippet of it in color at the start. Later on you see like more of that when they have to like show Rose, because when they eventually go to Rose, they're like, hey, we're going to go and stop this and stop Victor Freeze, and here's what happened. And we get more details about what happened. We find out that Slade and Wintergreen were hired by Vandal Savage, or whatever he's called in this world.
Vander Edge, but
that's the one. They were hired to kill the Emperor, right? Which was
Max Lord.
Max Lord, thank you. But because they moved at the last second, they also killed Nora, and so they're actually responsible for Nora's death, which is what got Victor all I was going to say
pissed
hot and
off.
bothered, but that's not quite the right term for Mr. Freeze.
It pissed him off to bring in Eternal Winter.
So yes, and that's where all this stuff kind of started. Some great stuff in the art here though. I love that when they're talking about Rose and that Rose has got the kid, there's a great like split panel where Rose is on one side of it and Slade's on the other. And all this is like taking place in Wintergreen's like sort of like mad science lab where he's been like constructing all this stuff. But yeah, again, you get a few little snippets of like that day where they had the sniper rifle, and like Slade slams this book shut that explains the story. Again, they're sort of teasing it really well so that when they give the book to Rose later on and we get to see it in full, it's like it's been properly built up by that point.
You say sniper rifle, but it's a crossbow.
It's a sniper crossbow.
Sniper bow.
Yes, it's pretty long. Look at it.
Yeah, no, 100%. But still, I don't want people to think there's firearms in the Viking Age.
True.
In a world where there's the Green in Caitlin Frost doing stuff and in Eternal Winter, we need to be historically accurate. Okay.
So yeah, they got so basically throughout all this though, and Wintergreen saying, "Oh, we can get into the city, we can do that, and get to thingy," but he's like, "Oh, but it's going to take like so much power to actually stop him, and I'm not sure we could find that." And up until this point, Slade has not mentioned Alec, or he's not brought up Swamp Thing, and he just smiles and he's like, well, "Why are you smiling? It's horrifying," which is a funny line actually.
That was a real good one.
But they find Rose quite quickly. Rose is like with Killer Frost, and they've got Alec. And Wintergreen just comes slamming through the ceiling and is like, "Hey, we're going to save the world." And Rose is like, "Uncle William?" Because it turns out Wintergreen actually looked after Rose for a bit, like 15 years ago.
Yeah, when Slade, left, right?
Yeah.
He kind of raised Rose.
Yeah, at least for a bit until she went off on her own and went
on her own
and
pledged to be the mercenary that she is.
Yeah. So, yeah, sure enough, Killer Frost gets crossbowed by Slade.
Right in the throat.
Yeah, because basically, before they show up, Rose is like, Killer Frost keeps asking Rose questions about, "Oh, can you not see that this weather's coming or when it's going to stop?" He's like, "No, my powers don't work like that."
It doesn't work like that. It has to be in the heat of battle. It can't be weather. It's not a premonition. It's reading people.
Yeah, it's like a few seconds from now in a conflict. It's not like these big things I can predict. But and it pays it off though, because there's a moment during the fight where Rose like says, "Get down," and that's when she gets hit in the face with the arrow right next. So she could see that coming, which is a nice little payoff to them building it up. But basically, like Rose is like, "Oh, like blah blah blah, nothing you do surprises me anymore." And he's like, "Well, this might," and he throws down his axe and he throws down the book, and like she reads what happened. She reads how this all started, and like how Freeze started, got mad at death of Nora and went ballistic and brought in the Allwinter, and she's like, wait, it was your fault? Yep. And you know what? Yep, but we're going to fix it, and we're going to do something. And Alec sort of comes in and says, yeah, you are all villains, but even villains have a chance to be heroes sometimes. So the issue ends with this call to action of, like, Rose seemingly is going to be united with her father and Wintergreen to get Alec Holland into the city to Mr. Freeze to fix the Allwinter. Which, honestly, this story has been really good. And this is like crescendoing at just the right moment. I feel a nice big cliffhanger. I'm excited for the conclusion, and having Rose sort of like align with them. And she's not like forgiving her father. It's like, oh, we still hate each other, but we can both agree that this is the good outcome, kind of thing.
Yeah, we still don't know what happened with her brothers, right?
No.
You know, so there's still that at play. Also, do we think here, because we see that Nora pushes Maxwell away, do we think he was using his, what we know as his DCU powers, right? The mind control kind of stuff. To win sway. And then so when he got shot, right, when it went through, you know, that's what broke the hold. Right, and that's why she ended up getting hit.
Oh yeah, that could make sense. The idea that in that second after she gets shot, before she finally dies, she's like not under his control anymore. So, so she actually didn't love him. She was just being manipulated the whole time.
Right, and that's part of what makes Freeze lose it, because you know that's his beloved, you know, and all of that. So I didn't even notice that the first time until here, because the shove away and then the shot of of this. So, but yeah, no. Again, the balance of the color and the darks and the use of color here, so damn good.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm looking at that page now, and I feel like it's before the shot, and it seems like as Freeze is walking in, she's pushing him away. It's almost like she's pushing him away because Freeze is seeing her with him.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm having a hard time reading it the way you say. Even though I like what you just said, I don't know if that's how it actually plays out in that page, though.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think about that until I was looking back through it again, and then no, I got the timing wrong because I was talking as we were looking. So
but yeah, so no, I mean, I think it ends off in a nice like big like hurrah, let's go and save the day. Like all of our misfit characters are coming together to save the world, and the art's been gorgeous throughout the entire book. Is no different here. The pages of the color book are showing what happened actually, you know, really stick out. Feel like a different style. And not actually a different style line work wise, but like because the coloring is so different to the shading in the black and white parts of the book, it really, you know, it feels like, and even just the ripped page sort of art style of all the panel borders, you know, they all look like they've been ripped out of something as opposed to just, you know, regular panels.
Yes.
Really nice touch. So. No, been loving this. And then the backup, which I did remember existed this time. I'm happy to say. Yeah, so basically it's just kind of the story of like James Gordon gives the Kents a farm to go and hide on because obviously the bad guys are going to keep coming. And Arthur reveals that he could kind of see in King Shark's head and even can kind of see in his parents' head sometimes. But there's teases of like who this villain's going to be. He says that when he looked into King Shark's head, he saw this vision of a really bad man, and we get this one panel of like evil-looking manta just kind of floating in the water. Really, really cool.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I'm not ready to go off and like fight this bad guy. I'm still a child. So, but you guys are warriors, right? You guys were great warriors. Can you train me how to fight while I'm growing up?" And we get like the montage of like panels of like, here's how you fight with a sword, a shield. Here's how you ride a horse. But they also point out that they can't teach him everything. Like clearly he learns how to swim on his own. Like that's just something like he naturally takes to. So this is actually the end of this story, which makes me think that the final issue will get all the page count will go to the main story for the finale. And this actually ended here, which is basically just Arthur, who's maybe about 18, saying, "Okay, I've got my trident. I'm going off to try and save Atlantis. I promise I will come back and see you again, parents, but I have to go do this." And it just says Arthur will return in Dark Knights of Steel in 2025. So whatever sequel we're getting next year.
Seems like King has something up his sleeve, right?
Which we always thought, just because Taylor wrote this part. So it makes sense that he's setting stuff up for his own sequel.
Yes.
Did I say King or did you say King first? And
I said King originally because I just thought Tom, and we've been talking about King.
That's
throughout
fine.
this whole other
it's a Freudian slip that we've all had at one point or another.
But there's a part here where they talk about the the Black Manta incinerating people and how underwater King starts, like, it's very weird to see somebody burned to death underwater.
Yeah, he says it's ironic to see someone burn underwater, which is a very, like, I am curious. I hope we get to see that.
yeah. Well, it definitely feels like they're setting up Black Manta to be the big bad of Dark Knights too, if that's what we're going.
You think he'll be the main big bad? I could see it.
I think so, because they've done, you know, they had Waller, right? With the Martians, right? And they ended that.
We had the Black Lightning Kingdom, we had the Amazons, and obviously the
and I feel like there's a united front between the houses. So now what brings up, and you know, this invading force from the ocean, you know, because I can see Arthur being like this freedom fighter down in Atlantis. You know, that's also might just be the Federici art, because that was kind of the vibe when Federici was art. So, but yeah, no, this was very good as well. And
DC, you just give me more Federici on something somewhere, please. I would like it. So. Plus, we're getting that new Aquaman book soon.
Yes,
which is cool. So we're going to get more
Adams, right? On that one.
Yeah, Jeremy Adams is doing that. So should be good. He's been kind of rising in the ranks recently. Yeah, this was a great issue. I really have very little to complain about. I think I felt it was a nice reveal to have Wintergreen show up. It feels like the last big character from Deathstroke that hadn't shown up yet. The fact that like him and Rose, while don't like each other, she even says specifically, "Oh, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for Wintergreen." He's like, "I don't care why you do it, as long as it's done." It's like, yeah, we can accept that. And like, okay, they've got their goal. We've set that up over these pages, over these issues, and it's just been a really, really focused, well-crafted story that's been extremely tight in its pacing. I guess is what I'm trying to say. So. And is easily my favorite thing of the Dark Knights of Steel world. I think like I've liked this more than the main first story.
Yeah, it definitely feels more focused too, as well, right? Because we're just following Slade. We're not bouncing around in the different parts of the kingdom and whatnot. But
even the backup, I think I like more than the main first story.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit more biased because I do love Viking stuff. So the fact that we're getting Viking Deathstroke across this barren wasteland and playing with some of these Viking iconographies, right up my alley. But the story that's being told too, I think it also helps that it's a different writer, right? Than Taylor, so we can, you know, it feels a little bit different. But yeah, it feels like Unkillables in that way, where it was such a change of pace in Deceased that it reinvigorated that interest.
Yeah, I bet you young Alex shows up in the sequel as well. Assuming he doesn't die when he re-greens the world. I expect he'll show up in the sequel as well. So
yeah,
cool. What are you giving Dark Knights of Steel Allwinter?
8.5.
I'm just going straight 9 on this. I can't really fault much of it, and backup was great too. Excited for the finale.